You're listening to the Inside Commerce podcast hosted by experienced consultants James Gerd and Paul Rogers. Inside Commerce is your fast track to digital knowledge, featuring interviews with leading e-commerce retailers, industry thought leaders, and the C-suite of key tech companies to explore the latest in digital strategy, customer experience, and tech. Discover what the latest trends really mean and get practical advice based on experience to help fine-tune your e-commerce strategy and tech stack. Follow us on LinkedIn and reach out to James or Paul if you'd like to discuss an e-commerce project. We hope you enjoy the latest episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Scayle Commerce Engine, who have productized the scale and expertise of the fastest growing e-com business in Europe, and Swap Commerce, who help you improve every pain point in your ops journey, from shipping, tracking, and package protection to inventory and returns. So let me set the scene for today's conversation. I'll introduce you to our amazing guest. We're talking about using AI chatbots to create empathetic customer service. So really cool topic. Interesting chatbots is huge amongst e-commerce businesses at the moment. And we're talking to Siena co-founder Lisa, who's a member of the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30, which is more than Paul and I will ever achieve. So well done on that, Lisa, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Great to be here.
Cool. So before we ask you lots of exciting questions, do you want to just give people a bit of an introduction to yourself and Siena?
Yeah, of course. I am one of the co-founders and CMO of Siena. And basically what we were doing at Siena, we've taken on the mission of humanizing the internet by pioneering a new category of empathic AI autonomous agents for commerce. And we've built Siena as the first and leading solution in this space. And our goal is to transform how brands approach customer experience and customer service.
Amazing. I love that position as well, because you describe it obviously about creating empathetic AI customer service rather than just giving people more technology, and about humanizing the internet. So I'd love can you expand on that? So can you talk us through what that really means for brands and how you see that as different to just like standard chatbot interactions?
Yeah, of course. So basically what Siena is an AI agent that helps brands and teams scale their customer service. And it delivers emotionally intelligent, personalized customer service at scale. So basically what this category represents is a paradigm shift in how customer service has been done so far, where these AI-powered agents can perform roles traditionally managed by humans. And you can think here of very advanced roles like taking care of transactions or managing subscriptions, taking care of returns. So basically actually solving customers' problems, not just, triaging tickets and giving agents actually more work at the end of the day, as that's, what traditional chatbots have been doing so far. They're very good at the first tier of interactions, maybe, hey, how can I help you today? But then once the customer places their question, which obviously customers' questions are pretty complex. They might ask 2 or 3 multiple questions that require, you to take some steps into a different vendor or, take care of a transaction. The chatbot will be lost. So will not be able to help the customer. So that's when, an agent, a human needs to step in. And that's why if you've shopped online, you've also been very frustrated when you've dealt with a chatbot who was just not able to understand what you need. So you've probably typed, talk to human, this is useless. So that's what we're trying to avoid. That's what we're disrupting. And these AI agents, they can offer 24/7 service, significantly reduced operational costs, and really enhance customer experiences with a very consistent, personalized approach across all channels.
Great. And I guess we'll obviously come back to the CX side and, some of the mechanics around what you just talked about. But before we go into that, can you just talk us through how you see brands implementing AI at this stage and how you think, brands and retailers should be looking to utilize AI right now?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there's a few criteria that you have to look at to know that you are ready and the timing is right. So we typically look at the ticket volume. So I feel like once you're around 3,000 tickets per month in your help desk across all channels, then you're ready to adopt AI. And also we look at the team. If you have at least a few in-house members that are doing the same repetitive work over and over again, maybe you're also outsourcing part of your customer service, then you know that it's a good timing to implement AI. So, first aspect, it's timing, right? You need to be ready. You need to have at least some processes in place, some knowledge in place so that you can use to actually train the AI. Because what's very cool about tools like Siena, the way they're being trained, it's very close to how humans are being trained. You have to have some sort of a repository or some documents, some handbooks that you give to your new employees once they join, and then that's their like onboarding guide. So you have to have these things into place, at least like a basic level of documentation, and then team, and then ticket volume. So I think these three things are what brands should be looking at. And I feel like, yeah.
So sorry to interrupt you there. I mean, so I guess it'd be interesting just outside of CX as well. So like outside of kind of support and Siena, like where do you see, and I guess Andrew is a good example here, we both know from Current Body, who will hopefully come on to talk about it. But I guess, yeah, outside of those areas, like where do you see brands kind of, really investing like time into adopting either different solutions or looking into kind of building their own kind of solution?
Yeah, of course. So I'm seeing AI being adopted more and more. I feel like on the marketing side, for sure, content creation, also on the video side. So we've all seen like how impressive the release of Sora is. So I feel like now you're going to be able to scale your marketing efforts 10x easier and faster by leveraging AI for video and content creation for social media. Obviously, ChatGPT helps out with, like the actual maybe scripts that you're using for your content, or all of the social media posting, interactions with your partners, with your influencers. So I think that's that. And then another area that I'm seeing, and I think so Triple Well, I actually attended their event 2 weeks ago in New York, and they launched a pretty cool tool. I think it's called Moby, and you can basically just talk to Moby and ask any kind of data that you want to find out. Probably Moby is going to be able to build some sort of reports based on all of the data that you have connected in Triple Well. So it just helps you, just identify patterns, feedback, trends to improve your business. So I think that's pretty cool.
Hi, I'm Thomas, Director Growth at Scayle. The world's fastest growing e-commerce platform has landed in the UK, with global brands like Manchester United, Deichmann, Snipes, and Marco Polo trusting us to scale their commerce businesses. Are you ready for a new e-com experience? Talk to Scayle today, because life is just too short for painful commerce.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I did see that and I thought it was really cool. I was quite annoyed actually when they released that, because my colleague and I had a similar idea. It's kind of, I guess it's different and their data set's much bigger. But yeah, I think we'll see a lot more of that. And I've definitely seen it within some of the other kind of off-the-shelf reporting solutions as well, where you can kind of ask queries about data and that kind of stuff. So I guess next question is, I guess, is there any other kind of, I guess actually a better way of spinning it, like, are there any other solutions that you're aware of in the industry outside of CX that you're particularly kind of interested in or you find particularly impressive?
Yes, I am very impressed by a tool that I recently invested in, which is called Agent Hub. So Agent Hub is basically the new Zapier. For me, it's the easiest way I can describe it. So forget about, like code and like connecting a bunch of things, which is, you do need to be at least have like a level of expertise to use Zapier, right? So with Agent Hub, it just unlocks an entire new world of possibility and like creating those flows and connecting a bunch of tools that you're doing. So you can use it for sales, for legal, for accounting, for marketing, for, I don't know, a bunch of things. And they're using generative AI. And it was very impressive. So I would definitely recommend you looking into Agent Hub. I think another area where I'm seeing brands. So I was actually talking to one of our customers, Bandit Running, and they are about to implement a tool that will help them use AI to identify buying patterns and then recommend better products to their customer. And I think this is on the UX side of things. So it's an interesting solution. So I see it being applied in a wide range of, departments. But yeah, Agent Hub is my favorite. That's the tool of the year so far.
Excellent. I'd like to drill in a bit on the support side, because obviously you work with the solution you provide, you work with a lot of customer services support teams, so you get to see people's issues, challenges, and how AI benefits. What impact does this have on support staff? Because obviously some people will be out there worried. There's the classic media panic story of AI's taken all your jobs. I'd love to hear from you, like, how does this empower support teams? What stuff does it take away from them that they typically don't want to do, and how is it changing support staff roles?
Yeah, great question. So I feel like if we think a little bit more high level, there's two main value propositions and benefits. So the first one is on the economic, so the impact that it has on the economic side. So it can significantly lower operational costs, aligning service margins with those typically seen in high margin SaaS businesses. So cost saving. And then it's on the team and customer side. So implementing an AI agent and bringing it into the team to start working alongside the other team members, I feel like it inevitably leads to higher satisfaction scores due to super fast response time, round the clock availability, and reliability. So taking these value propositions and benefits into consideration, I feel like teams, the biggest impact for them has been just reduce stress overall, burnout, improved efficiency, being able to show to their boss and their managers, okay, we can provide a consistent service quality. Their job satisfaction is enhanced because they do not need to spend their precious time on just copy pasting the same macros over and over again and just being in the inbox every single day. That's just not a job that you wake up very excited about, in my opinion. It's like you don't really, what's the career path if you're just in your inbox every single day doing the same thing. So I feel like what AI brings right now, it's unlocking a lot of the opportunities that they would otherwise not have. And also it's able to help them just be better at their job without having to put that much effort, right? Because when you think, for example, let's say, someone is having a bad day, maybe something that's personal that happened to them, but they have to show up to work. So imagine that agent being, having to interact with 100 customers in that day, and all 100 customers just happen to be frustrated and angry and, upset. So imagine how much energy is taking from that person who's also going through some personal stuff. So I feel like, we cannot really compete with an AI on the mood level and energy levels, because we are humans. So I feel like what AI helps teams just deliver the same level of service consistently, always very positive, always very nice, never gets angry, never gets frustrated, 24/7 available, never takes breaks. So I feel like it just helps them take that space that they need. And then once they, delegated some of the tedious, manual, repetitive things to the AI, they can take a step back and say, okay, like, what should I do? Where would my skills have the biggest impact in this company? Maybe I can, get more involved on the product side. Maybe I can get more involved on the loyalty and retention side. Or maybe I can really, become a manager and manage these AI tools that we're bringing to the team. So I feel like it just brings a lot of opportunity. It opens more doors that it closes, in my opinion. And yeah, it has a lot of opportunities for teams. I feel like, yes, I feel like the adoption curve is still slow. You do need to be looking at it with an open mind and embrace it in order for you to get the full benefits and just take advantage of this new wave of innovation that's, here.
I think it's an interesting point you make actually about the mood consistency, because we're all human. We have off days. We have days when we cannot be asked to deal with that complaint or that angry client, whatever it might be, and being able to take the emotion out of a response and have consistency. Yeah, I hadn't focused on that point, but that's a really important one.
Yeah, and I feel like empathic AI in particular really cuts through the biases and the emotional swings that often just fog up our human judgment when we engage with people. I mean, I would love to have a Siena. I mean, I'm not in the best mood every single day, even on Slack. So, just having a Siena for myself, which we're actually doing that, but yeah, it would be fun.
I've got a kind of like tangential question related to that. So there was a high profile case of a chatbot that got hijacked by people messing around with it in the UK because whoever had set up obviously hadn't put the right safeguards in place. It was a carrier, and somebody had basically tricked it into swearing, tricked it into calling the company shit, etc. So it was very entertaining. But it would be really great for it, specifically in the context of Siena. How do people get brands safeguarding it? How do people stop the chatbot from saying bad things or using inappropriate language? What level of control, and how do you support people to get that right?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the best parts about Siena is that you are in full control over what she responds to versus what she doesn't respond to, what types of, use cases she handles and what doesn't, and channels as well. So there's a lot of guardrails embedded into the model that they're just there. But there's also some features that they can leverage, like our content moderation feature that really tells Siena, okay, if you see these keywords or help desk tags or users or domains, then you completely ignore those conversations and those customers. So you just do not touch those tickets. So this is just one example. Another one is during the implementation phase, we take a very gradual approach. So in the first week or two, we start going live with Siena, but we only go live with drafted responses. We call them internal notes. So basically, they will see what responses Siena provide. The agents will see them in their help desk, but they're not going live to the customer. So it's an extra step of confidence that they can build and just make sure, okay, this is a response that meets our expectation. And then we can even copy paste and use it. That's the best, I feel, validation for us when agents are actually starting to copy paste and use Siena's responses. Then, okay, you're ready to go live. That's the best, signal. And also it tells you, okay, if this response is not the way I want it to be, let's go back and do some fine tuning, maybe give Siena some more information, add more data, provide more context, or add another instruction. So it's a really good step that builds their trust before going fully autonomous. And there's a bunch of other things that you can set up. So it's highly customizable. That's one of the best parts. And it really ensures that it just sticks within what you train it. Also, another cool thing is it works only with real-time data. So right now you can import documents, you can sync your Shopify product catalog, you can sync your website, and then you can also build automations like building processes. So for example, process for returns, you just tell Siena how returns should be managed, a process for order status, a process for changing in, subscription edits and all of that. So, you train it and that's what she will follow, nothing else.
Great. And I guess on top of that, because there's some really good use cases there, but can you just talk us through any like further really interesting kind of applications of Siena that some of your customers or clients have kind of implemented where they've made use of the chatbot a little bit more kind of engaging service perspective?
Yeah. I feel like one of the biggest goals that I see brands have when they join Siena is they say, we want to enable live chat and we want to have 24/7 support, but we haven't been able to do it so far because we just don't have the bandwidth and resources in-house. So I feel like the chat application is really, really cool. And we're actually working with 2 beauty brands who have such a cool use case. So basically what they want to do is they want to help their customers find the best product and match the shade, of the product that based on their skin type. So we're working with this brand and every time someone asks, hey, what do you recommend? My skin type is very pale. Then I would say, hey, like, can you send us a picture? I want to see your skin tone and type. So they would send a selfie. Siena has image recognition. It's called Siena Vision. And she was trained on what to look for in that picture. And basically, she was trained that, okay, if their skin type is very pale, you should recommend this shade. If it's a little bit more darker, you should recommend this shade. So that's a super cool approach. And basically, Siena now can really provide product recommendations and, really take care of this entire use case on her own without necessarily having like a human needed to get involved. So it's really cool. And that leads obviously to revenue, right? To more purchases.
Yeah, great. And I think, this is I think a really interesting question I'm sure you get all the time. But some of the kind of CX solutions and live chat vendors are releasing their own kind of AI offerings, I guess. So like, what's your view on, I guess, one, how Siena will differentiate against those, but also like how well placed they are to kind of build this type of stuff?
Yeah, of course. So I think when you look at help desks that are adding some sort of AI on top of what they already have, their main offering, their main product is being a ticketing system. That's what they do best, right? So they have their very like solid foundation infrastructure of being a ticketing system. That's, built years ago. So a lot of these are adding some sort of AI capabilities, whether they call it right now, like a AI agent or, AI assistant, whatever that might be. But it's very different being like having like a foundation that's completely different, not powered by generative AI versus a fully powered AI agent that was built on top of large language models from the ground up. And the main difference, I would say, between these two is the fact that when you look at Siena, she was really designed and trained like a human. So what we did before we actually even started to write a line of code, we always try to look, okay, how do the human processes look today? How does a human interact with the customer today? What are the steps that the human takes? And we worked backwards from the human experience to actually building this AI agent and how it should just like navigate. So there's multiple agent frameworks that we're using. An agent that does, order management, an agent that does subscription, an agent that, provides like a super nice response because it's very empathic and personalized. And then it really applies the 3 main principles in customer communication, which is comprehension, reasoning, and decision making. So first, it understands exactly what the customer wants and needs, whether they are sending us like just one message with one question or like a huge paragraph with a bunch of questions. It's able to understand exactly, really go beyond the lines. Second, it's able to reason. So it's really able to understand, okay, so I have this data point. The customer said that I need to go into Shopify, I need to go here, and just like, okay, I will make sure this is the best course of action, and then we'll actually take that action, which is the decision, which can be either just a response or it might involve, doing some changes in another platform. So I feel like these three principles are what makes the difference. And most chatbots, AI chatbots that are advertised today, unfortunately, they're not built on top of generative AI, and they're not generative AI chatbots. They're they behind their nice UX or UI. They're basically built on top of decision trees. So if this do that, so it's rule based engines that are powered by keywords, and then if you ask something that's not built out, the customer will not get a good response, just will be lost.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had a question around the differentiation between AI and just normal chatbots. It'd be useful to just probe a bit more on that, because obviously your product has the ability to like pre-program and have specific commands that can follow specific paths versus having that AI capability to discuss on a more human level. What are some of the most productive pre-programmed paths that your customers are using within the overall Siena experience to get people quickly into routes, whether that's like tracking, order statuses, etc.? Love you to share with customers, with everyone listening, like what are the essentials? What should people be doing, and what can you do?
Yeah. So I feel like the essentials should be always based on what is the highest percentage of tickets that you're getting on a specific topic. So if you look in your help desk and you see that 60% of our tickets are about where is my order, then you should start automating where is my order. And that literally you can do it in like 2 clicks inside of Siena, because all of these modules with Shopify, with Recharge, with all of our integrations partners were built in the backend by us. So you just need to literally connect Shopify and then select get order status, and then Siena will know what to do. If, 70% of your inquiries that are about returns, then we should do something about returns, right? Maybe we want to mitigate returns. So we're trying to use Siena to offer them an alternative to returning, or maybe we actually want to automate and have like a self-serve return experience versus having our agents manually deal with returns. So I feel like it's first look at, the percentages and what are those use cases that you're seeing over and over in your ticketing system, and start automating those, because you'll see like a huge drop in your tickets that need to be handled by humans, and then you'll see like a super fast win in the automation rate with Siena. So I think that's how our customers typically start. Just like, what are the most pressing things that we need to tackle, or the lowest hanging fruit?
Yeah, that makes sense. I was working with a customer recently, and the biggest issue they have is people keep asking for tracking information because they're not very good at surfacing it. And actually, it's quicker for them to get that info plugged into they've got a very basic chatbot for a POC. It's quicker to push that in from their WMS than it was to get that integrated with their e-commerce platform, because they've got quite a custom theme. So I'm not surprised by that. Question that I've heard a few people mention is, I've stopped a few people going live as well, or trialing it, is how do you track performance? How do you validate it's having an impact other than reducing tickets? So how do you measure the impact of Siena, and how do you work with customers to help them show what the real impact is, rather than just, okay, we've saved X thousand tickets?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. So I feel like what's really cool about Siena is the fact that she's literally an agent that takes a user seat inside of your ticketing system. So you can track her performance exactly how you track it for your team. So in your help desk, you can go and see, Siena's first response time, Siena's resolution time, the ticket conversion rate, the CSAT score of Siena, the reviews that Siena received after interacting with customers. So that's on one side. You can see her as like a real agent, how she's performing. On the other side, when you want to look at like, okay, how is the AI agent and the automation performing, you go into Siena and you see the automation rate, you see the time saved. And another very cool metric that we recently introduced, it's the CXP. So what this means is the customer experience score. So the customer experience score is like a CSAT on steroids, and it really tells you, okay, is my AI agent actually performing? Is it solving problems? Are the tickets being closed with happy customers, or am I just seeing a very high automation rate that is just doesn't, tell me anything? Because you can have 90% automation rate if the responses are shitty and your customers are pissed. So we introduced the CXP. So now every time you look at the automation rate, you need to correlate it with the CXP. So what does this mean? It takes into consideration 6 data points: the CSAT scores, effort index, resolution rate, the empathy, and then I think it was the emotional aspect of the conversation. So what's the sentiment? So by having all of these metrics, you can rest assured, okay, like actually Siena did a really good job here. And we typically say if you have a CXP above 90%, then it means you have a very good strategy, like really, really good agent performer. But then if it's, between 70 and 90, then, okay, let's look at what type of intents are actually the ones that are not that high in the CXP score, and let's double down, like optimize, fine tune those automations. And then if it's below, okay, it's a red flag. We really need to dive deeper into those and see what's going on, like what's blocker in in us getting such a low score. Also, another very important thing that we are tracking internally. So this is our North Star metric with our customer success team. Every time we sync with a customer, we ask them on a scale from 1 to 10, if Siena were your agent, like a real agent, how would you rate it? 1, Siena is useless, and 10, Siena is the best performer we've ever had. So that also tells us exactly, okay, if it's around 7 or 8, how can we make it a 10? And we look exactly at those areas that need improvement.
Great. And then I guess last couple of questions, and I think this one's particularly interesting for me, is if you're working with like a large retailer, how would your average client approach a proof of concept? So like what's the typical process for kind of trialing this and maybe presenting different options to the customer, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So what we've been doing with enterprise customers or businesses is we're putting together some documentation of like, okay, what is like the POC documentation, like what are our goals? What are the use cases that you'd like to test to see if this would work for your business? What are the, some like first metrics that you'd like to see being impacted? And we obviously work backwards from their goals and their use cases, and we'll just put together a testing account for them. And we keep a very close collaboration. We go through, those use cases. We train Siena. We choose like between 5 to 10, not more. We want to make sure we stay very focused because, like doing testing, obviously it's just, it's more scrappy, more superficial. It's just for you to gauge the potential in having this kind of AI agent into your team, into your operations. I think what I see teams being very interested in is like, how does the handoff process look like? Okay, what happens when Siena maybe doesn't have enough knowledge or data to respond? Like, how does it go to the team? How does, is it seamless? Do we need to do something? So I think that's what they want to see, like that experience working with their teams. And then just like, I feel like they're very, very particular about the brand side of things. So how can we make sure that we, automate, but we still keep our brand voice, tone, and personality? Like, imagine you spend years and years building that. You do not want to just use an AI tool that will ruin everything. So they look very closely to the quality of responses and the engagements, and just seeing, okay, will this actually fit? Like, how would this agent and the way it interacts will integrate into everything that we stand for and into our business and the way we communicate with our customers. So yeah, it's like, to sum it up, it's very focused on, having some quick wins and just gauging the potential based on their use cases. And yeah.
Great. And I guess last question. So I was recently chatting to my mobile phone provider, and they presented two options. So they're basically like, you can chat with a real human agent, but it's going to take 30 minutes before they're available. Or you can chat with our AI agent, and they can essentially process information based on, their language model, etc. So they obviously disclosed the usage of AI. A lot of brands don't. So like, what's your view on that? Like, do you think you're best kind of presenting options? Do you think you're best kind of saying that AI is partially used? Or do you think it's a case of, using it in a different way so you don't necessarily need to tell the user that is the case?
Yeah. So I think there's no right or wrong answer, to be honest. It all comes down to the business preferences. So the majority of our customers, they do not disclose it. For example, if they have a live chat or on email or on social media, most of them, they, create Siena as a real person. They give it a real name, real attributes, and really give life to Siena in a way that you have no idea that you're talking to an AI. And most, 99% of customers have no idea they're actually talking to Siena. But also, I feel like there's customers who just have transparency as a core value, and they might want to add it in their privacy policy or terms and conditions, or just as a disclaimer there when someone opens the chat, or maybe a disclaimer after they are being sent an email that was powered by AI. So there's no right or wrong. I feel like I would even encourage customers to disclose it, because it makes the experience much more fun. I feel like it also reduces the pressure on, okay, if the AI just doesn't have enough data, at least the customer, has had a good experience so far, and they're more can be more, patient in just waiting for a real human to take over. And also you can really make it fun. So we've had some customers who have, from the human name, they've turned it into a super fun, AI barista or stuff like that. So I just feel like, at the end of the day, the customer, they just care about getting their problem solved or getting a good answer and having a good experience. It doesn't really matter, who they're speaking with. That's what we're seeing so far, at least.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way of framing it, because I've had that experience as a shopper, and I've heard that from other people who've said the feedback they've had from customers, which is we're all impatient. We hate waiting. We can't be asked. And if you're stuck waiting for a live chat agent and it's you're 18th in the queue, so we'll be with you.
Oh, that's so bad. Yeah.
Oh, it just pisses me. I've had this on live chat with a web hosting company. Is you are connected to Derek. Derek, where's Derek? Derek hasn't replied to me for 15 minutes. Is Derek connected to me, or is he pissed off on break? I don't know. So I think you're right. Having that ability to have pre-prompted of what do you want to do, track and order it, which can just be scripted. Having a chatbot that can say, hey, we're busy right now, well, let me help you answer, and do it in a really nice on-brand, really positive tonal way. but with a fallback, which is that I'm really sorry, can't help it. Let us send a callback request. That ability where you can control the customer experience rather than make them sit there waiting. I just think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. An acknowledgement, even one acknowledgement goes so far. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's about anything that takes friction away and sets expectations, because my biggest frustration in any e-commerce or non-e-commerce interaction is when I don't know what's happening or how long I've got to wait, or whether actually anything will ever happen. So that's been really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the chat we had, I think it's a few weeks back when you first introduced me to the product. It's really cool, and I can see why this is going to get more traction with e-com teams. If anyone listening wants to get a demo, or if they've got anything to challenge you on in terms of, is this really going to work for my business? How do they reach out?
Yeah, of course. So they can go on our website, siena.cx, from customer experience. They can book a time with us there, or they can find us on LinkedIn. I am Lisa Popovici on LinkedIn or Twitter. They can find our team there as well. But yeah, you can always reach out to me.
Cool. Excellent. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Really enjoyed that. And good luck with the future plans. Look forward to seeing more success from Siena. And for everyone who's listened, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a great episode. Make sure you're following Inside Commerce on LinkedIn and subscribe to our newsletter. And feel free to reach out to Lisa if you want to find out more about Siena. Take care, everybody. You're listening to the Inside Commerce podcast, hosted by experienced consultants James Gerd and Paul Rogers. Inside Commerce is your fast track to digital knowledge, featuring interviews with leading e-commerce retailers, industry thought leaders, and the C-suite of key tech companies to explore the latest in digital strategy, customer experience, and tech. Discover what the latest trends really mean and get practical advice based on experience to help fine-tune your e-com strategy and tech stack. Follow us on LinkedIn and reach out to James or Paul if you'd like to discuss an e-commerce project. We hope you enjoy the latest episode.